The pro for Donald Trump, he does very well nationally with people of color, and that's going to be a huge voting bloc. We talked about that yesterday.
The blacks.
He'll take it to the media in all new ways, but the problem with Donald Trump is that he probably brings too much baggage into a general.
So what do you think the pros and the cons are of the candidates? Let me list you mine, Gerald, and then we've got Alex.
Okay.
Alex, is it Alex knows? We have his whole sticker.
The truth according to
Alex. But we'll because I want Alex to be able to hit everything he wants to say. I think there are some pros here with Donald Trump, okay? He will take the fight to anyone, anywhere. I think that's something that we know about Donald Trump. He was also probably the most effective president during my lifetime. Doesn't mean everything. But as far as when you compare him to George W. Bush, when you compare him to George Bush Sr., when we're talking about Republicans in my lifetime, he certainly got some stuff done. Not everything. The cons, well, he'll often fight people and wage wars that he doesn't need to. He doesn't pick his spots, and he often maybe seems to like he'll place his personal grudges over issues, sometimes at the cost of an issue that would be winning for him. DeSantis, what do I like? He's followed through on his promises as governor, mostly speaking. You know, you talk about woke education, you talk about Disney. He's the only conservative outside of Donald Trump that I know of who I think has been taking the fight to the media, you know, actively calling them out outside of Donald Trump. They both do that. The cons with DeSantis, and I know this is a common knock, but I will tell you, it does worry me when he's not independently wealthy.
Yeah.
And so he is going to be relying on, I'm not saying they're pulling the strings, certainly not yet, but he will be relying on other donors, which always comes with some strings attached. And he doesn't have any experience doing this job exactly. But neither did Trump when he became president. President Trump didn't have it when he became. So those are what I would say the pros and cons of each, Gerald.
So I would say, let me give you the pro of DeSantis. There's actually two things. One, I think he's a little bit more polished than Donald Trump is. And so if he can develop that part of his game like he did there, where he said, I don't know what it's like. If he can do a little bit more of that, more polish, I think that's fantastic. And two, he does very well with independents, better than Donald Trump does, right? In a general election, they're forecasting he would do much better. But if you look at what he did in the state of Florida, when we covered the midterm elections, he killed it with independents, right? So if he can take that nationally, that's a very, very good game plan.
Nationally, he doesn't do as well with people of color.
Well, yeah, so Donald Trump has the advantage there. So that's the pro. The pro for Donald Trump, he does very well nationally with people of color, and that's going to be a huge voting bloc. We talked about that yesterday.
The blacks.
He'll take it to the media in all new ways, but the problem with Donald Trump is that he probably brings too much baggage into a general.
Yeah.
Right. There's too many people that would suit up to fight against him. Ron DeSantis doesn't inspire people to fight against him quite the same way. So.
Right. But he also doesn't inspire people to fight for him.
True. That's true.
Quite the same way. And of course, I'm sure someone has very, very lengthy opinions on this. It's time for Alex Jones. Well, whatever. Hit the stick.
Truth According.
I'm kind of retarded.
So, Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis, where do you line up? What do you think the pros and cons are of each? Because you were obviously very big on Trump early on, and then you've had some qualms with him. But we do with that. You do with everybody. You're fair.
I think what you and Gerald said really mixed together is the whole field of the issue. DeSantis is very, very polished. They won't be able to manipulate him as much. But I like how Trump takes it to the deep state. I love how much the establishment hates him. But what Gerald said, Trump polarizes things and gets the left to commit crimes and do things they would never have done before. So he was a very useful tool to energize the deep state, to organize along with the neocons and rhinos really against the American people. No, but seriously, what I'm trying to get at is this. On Trump, clearly they hate him. They're scared of him. They've tried to destroy him. He's come back so much. You want to see him get in there. But then it kind of feels like we're playing with chaos.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I'd like to see what DeSantis do. But I lean more towards Trump because of this. DeSantis being endorsed by Jeb Bush. DeSantis saying his greatest idol is George Herbert Walker Bush, father of the modern New World Order. DeSantis being the darling of the
I want to pause you 1 second here, just because I think that second part was very important. When he was endorsed by Jeb Bush, I was like, well, whatever. Jeb Bush can endorse whoever he wants. When that quote you're talking about with George H.W. Bush, that's far more concerning because that's Ron DeSantis saying, these are examples.
Absolutely, because you can say, well, he's not really Skull and Bones. He was in another secret society at Yale, fine. But then when you pull back and he's like, no, I admire most George Herbert Walker Bush.
Gross.
I mean, that's like Rockefeller Republican. That's a Democrat who became president. And then we basically got Clinton and then Obama and W before that. All of it out of that CIA whole dynasty.
Right,
so I see that most troubling. Also, he's not been as anti-war as Trump has been. And so I think Trump right now is in the lead with me because he's anti-war and because the establishment doesn't like him. But at the same time, I don't like the worship of Trump. I don't like his kids. I mean, I like Don Jr., but I don't like the Kushner and the daughter and just, and then all the Q people thinking Trump's invincible and worshiping him.
Yeah.
So there's a certain...
You don't like the NFTs.
But none of us have a problem with Barron.
No.
Yeah, Barron's good.
Fantastic.
And look, I'm not knocking the Trump family. I don't want royalty.
Right.
I mean, I remember just 3 years ago, they were bragging, and the kids were bragging, not Don, but the other ones, about how we're going to be a dynasty and we're new royalty. And I'm like throwing up.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to get rid of the globalist royalty and replace it with some new, royalty. Okay, I want my republic back. And if Trump wants to secure the border, secure the dollar, bring jobs back, put fentanyl dealers, on death row. I mean, if Trump wants to do that, that's great. And stop the censors. That's another thing. Trump sat there, and I briefed him, other people briefed him about how they were censoring, how it was big tech, how it was intelligence agencies, the money Obama put in January 2021, January 2017, before he left.
Yeah.
Into the Defense Authorization Act, in the rebuild, and it's all in there. It's all in that act, the Countering Foreign Disinformation Propaganda Act, and that's how they declared the American people as terrorists and as enemies, and had this illegal government operation surveil and spy and censor. Okay, so for me, it's much bigger than the First Amendment. It's that whole program, and Trump sat there and let that happen.
He didn't do enough.
That's why I'm angry at him.
Yeah,
well, because he never thought, I won't get censored. I don't really need my fans.
Well, so
I won't get censored.
Who do you think? So, I agree with you, right? It comes down to, okay, we have really two questions here. Who is the best person for the job in the current state of affairs? But really, it does come down to who does better in the general.
Yeah.
Right? That's a big concern, because if Trump, for some reason, can't win the general.
I don't agree. I understand what you're saying as far as winning the general, but I also understand where Alex is. It's far more concerning to me that we get someone who wins a general who's a puppet. I think what the point, if you're going to lose big.
But I just don't think Ron DeSantis is that puppet. He's not perfect.
No, I'm not saying that either.
In Florida, he's done a good job. So if he continues doing that, I would rather have him with a chance to win. That's a big if for some reason Trump is projected, it comes back to Hillary Clinton. Like, he was projected not even to come close to beating her.
I'm going to throw.
So I get that. But if we look at it and go, gosh, it's going to be really hard, I would hate for Biden or somebody, like whoever else they throw up there, to have just a
Watch Louder with Crowder live, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.